Nautilus banned away by JDG.
Yeah, we do have things like the Lucian still left open, Viego being the other big standout, which JDG have already kind of hovered a few times, and your other two big meta jungle picks are banned. So it seems like they value this over the alternative. For Ultra Prime, not even going to look towards the Lucian itself. And Ultra Prime have been one of the teams that haven't really liked going for the Kalista pick. They've actually consistently banned that one out. So Ultra Prime kind of already having a set idea of how they want to come and play the game, right? We're already setting up for some kite back, some peel potential coming out across the board. But now this leaves up JDG to go for one of those aggressive bot lane options that we just talked about if they want to.
The Trundle presence today, my goodness. We're just getting it all over the place. A little bit of stability from the jungle coming in the form of the Trundle. We get the Ezreal locked in for Hope, though. And you were talking a little bit about it earlier, but I think a key underlying fact here between both these two teams is the bot lane pop-off potential. We've seen Hope breaking people's ankles in the LPL consistently. Elk himself known to be aggressive, known to use the Gale Forces forward, be that aggressive AD carry. In this meta, maybe not the best boon, but we'll see if they can actually have something to be said, and especially with the Xayah versus Ezreal. But we do have our top lane matchup in the Gwen versus Gnar now.
I was going to say, going back to the AD carry matchup, sadly, that doesn't really fit what we've seen from both teams, right? You saw on the serve like the Elk aggression. It's like, nah, I don't expect to see too much. This is Hope's most played champion on the Ezreal, and it seems like their thought process is instead of opting into maybe a more aggressive setup like the Lucian Nami, since they have things like the Trundle and the Xayah, things that don't have a lot of lockdown and need to run you down and want you to come into them, JDG is just going to pivot and outrange them with Hope's Ezreal. Already having bans coming out in that support role, taking away Missing's Karma feels really huge. When we just talked about for JDG, they would love to just try and outrange this comp that really doesn't have any set lockdown. Even the Gnar, right? You need to rely on playing around the Mega Gnar, getting him into the fight, and actually finding that impactful ultimate against a champion like Ezreal that has a dash to be able to get away. So I think Ultra Prime coming out with their bans have some smart pivots. And now we'll see what they end up with. Especially with the fact Nautilus Recon taken across the board, we're really diving deep into what supports are even left open.
We have the TF ban lastly by JDG, so trying to focus down towards Cryin a little bit, give that mobility of, in mid lane tamper down, as we'll see the fourth pick for Ultra Prime. They still do have the counter pick, and we talked a lot about the top lane. They could just be looking for that later in the series. I don't know how the counter picks are going to come through here for Ultra Prime as they do lock in the Corki fourth pick.
Yeah, going for the Corki, so trying to pivot. Well, not even pivoting, right? Because they'd already set up with the Trundle that they're playing for range themselves, trying to answer JDG by even going further with the Corki Rockets able to come through in mid-game. So now for JDG, this looks like where they're looking to set up, maybe trying to outpace that, right? Get a mid laner who can get push, who has a semi-global, who can affect the map, and not allow Ultra Prime's comp to get to when it would be strong, once we get to like the 2-3 item mark, especially for that Xayah being able to get the full crit coming out. Or, if he's going to go towards things like, oh my god, why do I always forget items, Mazel? Eclipse, there we go. Things like the Eclipse able to come online at first item. If JDG can get going before that mark at the level 6 point with the Realm Warp, that'll be huge, especially now bringing some engage in the bot lane as well. So you have Yagao able to move with Kanavi. You have Missing who's able to set up the fights with the Leona. And now for Ultra Prime, just indexing more into disengage from this Alistar.
Both heavy priority enchanters for Missing taken away in the Yuumi and Karma, so he opts into another comfort pick for JDG. It'll be the Leona with the Ezreal, but combining that into the Alistar Xayah. An interesting combo to boot from Ultra Prime, I feel like, and something else we'll probably touch on a little bit further on in the series.
Yeah. For Ultra Prime, I mean, they went a very defensive setup with this. I don't really expect almost anything to be able to happen early on. You don't have too many lanes that really have set up for you to be able to do too much. Not too much overextension should be able to be possible, even coming from the side of the laners from JDG. Where JDG feels like they have a lot more options. We hit on that level 6 mark, especially with the Realm Warp, where things can happen. And even just having the Leona in the bot lane to try to find some of these engages, at level 3, get onto the Xayah, and hopefully be able to take some winning trades. So JDG, we want to see a bit of aggression early. We want to see them start to outpace the likes of Ultra Prime. If Ultra Prime can get to the late game, that is where they'll be a little scary.
But you got to get to the late game. And I think one thing that we've all known about JDG, especially since last split coming into this split, is their mid-game decision-making, their team-fight decision-making is actually pretty darn good, and their macro decision-making is good. So finding a way to upend that for Ultra Prime is super important in this series, and it could be a long one, right? We could go all 3 games. I think that's the adaptation that we want to see from Ultra Prime into the series. How do they find a way to kind of put a chunk in the armor out of JDG? Because JDG have looked that dominant. As you said earlier, right? Only going 2-0 once. They've gone the distance for all of their series almost, but it still has been the wins. Much more convincing than LNG. And as we kick it off, JDG versus Ultra Prime, we hit the rift between the Dumpling Brothers.
369 up against Zoom, their grudge match. Zoom up against Yagao, old brothers in arms. Heck, we even have Elk up against Missing.
Yeah.
Like, there's actually so many storylines between these two teams and the members that they have on the Rift. So, yeah, I feel like this match means a lot for both sides, especially when we've talked about that Ultra Prime kind of being one of these dark horse rosters, maybe not necessarily to win the LPL. Like it's possible, right? I don't want to discount it, but it feels like those expectations are too high. But at least to be a team who wasn't in playoffs before, to be able to make a run into playoffs and maybe see if you can do a bit of damage. So it'd be nice if Ultra Prime can pull off a convincing win here to build even more faith. But like you said, JDG in their wins have just looked dominant. Sure, they've lost some games, but anytime they win, it just feels like they crush the opposing side. Kanavi just ultimately breaking down their will. And when you're going up against Hacker, who has been very hit or miss, it feels like we're once again set up for Kanavi to succeed.
That's what I exactly want to talk about, is Kanavi. We talked already about all the lanes, right? We've talked about 369, the Thunderdome against Zoom, the late game carry potential for the bottom lanes, even mid lane having a lot to say in this one. But the facilitators, the ones that are really going to make the action happen early on, are Kanavi and Hacker. And I think they come into this game with much different positions of power.
Oh, yeah, right. Again, Kanavi just having a standout regular season performance once again. To our Hacker, some good games, some bad. Definitely feels like he's the weakest link on Ultra Prime. But if Hacker can get going in the early game, that's when Ultra Prime always seemed to shine. Hacker, though, having a bit of a habit to feel a little invisible at moments, will be pathing. Took his red now, being on this bottom half of the map in case any
Oh my god, ShiauC is getting so low. One more auto attack could do it. Missing, he can't get the auto. Elk has to use cleanse, but he might have just found it against hope that the Mystic Shot will go a little bit wide there. But Ultra Prime sitting out
here,
barely with any health. Hacker trying to come down, followed very closely by Kanavi. I don't know if Ultra Prime necessarily want to do this. Missing will walk up. The Zenith Blade connects onto Elk. Elk is stunned up here, and Elk goes down first. Blood to Missing, and JDG are on the board.
JDG just committing to the 2v2, knowing they have Kanavi's backup if needed. They're able to burst out Elk before Hacker can have any influence on the fight, and already starting off strong for JDG. And when we've hit on the top lane matchup, or mid lane, because that's where the story is, Hope and Missing have looked excellent so far this split. It really feels like they found their stride as a 2v2, and they've consistently been doing well in their games.
Pillar will connect onto Kanavi there. He is invisible and flashes away from the knockup, so that'll be a big summoner spell burned by Kanavi himself, but it's still fine when you come out with first blood. Get a little bit of vision game down there with Scuttle Crab. Now you'll double Scuttle Hacker.
Ultra Prime going to try and contest, though, because look at top wave. Zoom has a bit of pressure if they want to try and make his way up, but Kanavi, yeah, Kanavi's just going to get this too soon, and Hacker not even going to contest. So Kanavi going to be able to keep both Scuttles. He also still has his full top side jungle up to be able to take and find more of a lead for himself. As we go into the replay, ShiauC already blowing his abilities, trying to knock up Missing, and it allows for the engage to come out from the Leona, and they get on top of Elk. Luckily, they are able to get away at first, but with both jungles waiting in kind, JDG just say, screw it, aggress onto Elk. They have the heal available as well, and Hacker not really able to find anything. So nice that the heal was there for Hope, and Missing being able to find the Zenith Blade.
By the way, how does it feel to be able to say able without looking at a player's name? Do you feel okay? Are you feeling better now?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I actually feel great.
Okay, cool. I'm going to keep a counter, though. We'll see how long it affects
everyone has one they hate. That one is mine. It's just Able is able
so
to do this.
So what you're saying is you hate
Able.
You just told me and the entire broadcast that you hate Able. I feel like that's a little bit.
I don't hate Able because Able actually brings a lot of fun and or funny moments that we can all enjoy together.
He does.
So,
he
you know.
But we've moved
oh,
on.
Wait,
We've
Missing?
moved on to the bot lane as Missing does get knocked away again. Hope putting some decent damage back into Elk, though. And I think this bottom lane is definitely going one way, and it's looking JDG's way.
Especially when we've talked about JDG wanting to outpace Ultra Prime this time around. The fact that they already have a lead in the bottom lane, you can look at the minimap now and see Yagao consistently keeping up that pressure in the mid lane with the Ryze. Soon will have his Realm Warp. This is where JDG are going to start being incredibly strong. We already see them positioning down towards the bottom side. I wonder if they're going to look for a Drake with the prio that they have in both lanes. They do, and it'll be a nice, extremely early objective for JDG.
Extremely early, 30 seconds late is what I say.
Extremely early.
30 seconds late. The Thunderdome, though, we're checking back in, just making sure the weather's okay, making sure the sun's still shining, and nobody has died up there yet. So we'll check back in on the Thunderdome as it goes. It will be the first dragon, though, secured for JDG, as you had pointed out.
See, I was kind of hoping that since it's 369 versus Zoom, like, again, with the circumstances around this matchup, it would have turned into, like, Bin versus the Shy. They're just both at each other's throats. We have like 3 kills at 2.5 minutes, which I don't even know if is possible, but that's what I was hoping for. Oh, another game.
They're getting caught here, though. Hacker's coming up. Kanavi is right here to respond, and ShiauC is getting so much damage burn. You think he's a big tanky cow. He's got a big body. The health bar ain't helping him out today too much. As Needlework will be utilized by 369 on the top lane. We do get a little bit of fisticuffs, but not much.
Yeah, misses the needlework, though, so Zoom not even having to worry about getting slowed or getting run down, so we'll just be fine. JDG, though, continue.
Wait,
what?
Realm Warp! The JDG Realm Warp into ShiauC's doom! Missing is not going to go down. The Blade Collar is not available. Oh, my God. That's the Ryze gameplay we wanted to see.
You know, I don't know if it was because of the skin, but I didn't even notice the Realm Warp coming through. Ending up right in Ultra Prime's face, able to take down more kills. And JDG already up to a 1.5k gold lead at not even 7 minutes.
They're cruising along just fine. They got the soda in the left hand, the wheel in the right, and they're just having a wonderful drive on a Sunday afternoon, even though it's not Sunday.
Whoa, Mazel. They're living a little bit more jovial. Look at the beer in the right hand. And, you know, got the beer in the right hand, got the hand on the wheel in the left.
This is huge.
The Realm Warp comes out. I love that Missing had the confidence to follow along, too, with how low his HP was. They're able to get the pick onto ShiauC. And for Ultra Prime, when we've talked about their bot lane typically being the focal point, this actually feels a lot bigger than just a 1k gold lead for JDG, because Ultra Prime, when their bot lane doesn't get ahead, typically look quite lost in the mid game in terms of how to play it out. They'll just keep hammering home down on that bot lane until it finally works, which could sadly lead in a snowball in the opposite direction, right? If you keep hammering home on a losing bot lane, it could just lead the enemy bot lane to get huge.
I just think that Hope and Missing have been playing their lanes so dominantly. It's not just the matchups, right? It's the confidence that they find in those matchups. Even in losing situations, even in situations where they're not necessarily ahead, they do find advantages to some extent. And in positions where they are ahead, in games like this where they found the confidence bot lane already so early on, it gets to be a scary point because you don't feel like you have much response without committing super amounts of resources down there.
Yeah, and especially now we're going to see the advantage of it, right? Their bot lane finding the lead. Considering Herald's up, we can see both Missing and Hope making their way over now to where for Ultra Prime, I'm curious to see if they fully commit Elk to the play. And it looks like they will. So we might. Oh no, he's actually moving back down now. So Ultra Prime gonna respect JDG. Love to see it.
Wow. I don't know if I like this. Not my LPL. No fight over Rift Herald at 8 minutes. Kind of sus. But anyways, we're gonna move forward with that one as Kanavi's looking topside against Zoom. He does have Gnar stacking up here. He'll turn Kanavi to the Scuttlecrap first to start it off. But Zoom keeping pressure up top lane. I do wonder if they eventually want to punish Zoom.
They're going to look for it, but Zoom did have vision, so Kanavi should just walk away for now, clear his topside camps, then maybe start making his way back down towards that bottom lane, and it's non-stop action!
It's the feather recall there as well, utilized.
Okay.
Just the ultis used everywhere. Why not?
I don't know if the Solar Flare was needed in the end for like what the positioning was, but I respect the spunk coming out from Missing to make sure it happens, and now Hacker with the level of aggression that Missing has shown, Hacker wanting to wait back just in case they looked for any type of play.
But he's not
Missing
here.
did recall, and now Hope just going to catch the wave from a safe distance on the Ezreal.
This is really unfortunate for Hacker. I know you were talking about a little bit more in the fact that like sometimes he's a bit invisible, but he is losing this jungle matchup by a large margin.
Yeah.
It is, like, I just looked back to check out, because usually, you know, in the LPL, it's the lanes that kind of get out of funk. But it's the jungle by a huge amount. And I think that's, when you're looking at the facilitator for this team, we were talking about, you know, Kanavi Hacker matchup really going to be a bread and butter staple to this one. Kanavi has definitely found the activity on the map that makes it to where JDG can control the game like they like to do.
I was going to say, Mazel, there was definitely a reason why we did our head-to-head as our top lane matchup and not our jungle matchup coming through. But an example like that, right, gets in with the prio he has mid, steals the Raptors. That's why Kanavi's been able to amount such a lead of 86 CS just to 50 coming out from the side of Hacker. And like you said, already even been more pivotal in the lanes to come through so far. But Cryin does have package. Second Dragon is up. And Ultra Prime are going to try and use this window with the Corki package to try and find their way back into the game, but they're not too far behind, so definitely doable coming out from Cryin.
Yeah, a lot of scaling as well, and the fact that they do have Cryin on the Corki. Want to see how this package gets utilized, though, as I believe the timer is going to be pretty quick on it. But Kanavi and the rest just buying time, using the Rift Herald as a distraction mid to potentially claim the second dragon, but they don't have to. They can utilize this to try and break down tower in mid lane. They really have every option available in front of them.
Oh, there we go. Ultra Prime giving up the dragon to stop the Herald from coming through. The charge still going down, though, so the damage still done to the turret. And JDG, once again, just successful rotation overall. 369 able to TP back up to the top lane so he doesn't lose too much CS.
Getting everything.
But now, to be fair, we'll open a window to where Zoom will have TP advantage if any shenanigans do break out in bot side. We're still about 2 minutes and 20 seconds until the Unleash teleport is able to come through, but it'd be really nice if Ultra Prime can find a window to take advantage of that, especially with how aggressive JDG have been on that bot side.
Yeah, exactly. Hacker going back down here. He's been constant in this
Both
bottom
jungles,
lane.
baby.
But they're, yeah, exactly, both here. The Zenith Blade connects on the ShiauC. It's a lot of damage. Triple knockoff from ShiauC, though. Hacker, that's the thing with the Trundle. You can't really get into a fight when you're up against this kind of squad, though. Hope is able to put in a decent amount of poke, and it's Ultra Prime who get out with a flash of hope.
And Ultra Prime didn't even really need to burn much, right? I mean, they didn't blow any flashes. Elk didn't have to use his ultimate. Your two tanks lost their ultimates, but burning Hope's flash was huge. A lot of that coming out from, like you said, ShiauC landing the triple knock-up instantly into Hacker's pillar. And nice small win for Ultra Prime, because at this point, any small win is what you'll take when you're 2k gold behind. But as you've hit on before, right, the Corki, the Xayah, the Trundle, definitely having an insurance policy later on, but oh, Yagao
He was
hates you,
looking
Zoom.
for it. Yeah, he wants to go
Yagao
for it.
hates you.
Here we go. The round warp comes in. Zoom, you just lost Gnar as well. The Dumpling brother strikes. It's Zoom. He's going to go down to the duo of 369 and Yagao.
I would say, like, oh, Zoom's pissed off that Yagao never ganked him like that, but my guess is Zoom probably never called for that attention.
Get a little personal there, right? Get a little personal.
Where you know 369 does. You know 369's a man who begs for attention towards the top side, to where Zoom has always been the opposite. Even to, like, I feel like the downfall of JDG at points where it felt like Zoom should have been the one with resources put into him. But this time around, 369 has Yagao, Zoom gets punished, and Kanavi walking into his second jungle once again says, thank you, Mr. Hacker. I'll be on my way.
Can I just say, though, this performance from Yagao on the Ryze is night and day from, say, what we saw earlier from Doonby on the Ryze. The proactivity that Yagao has shown with the Realm Warp so far, being I know I said it already for Kanavi, but being a facilitator for the team so far. And I think that is an absolute unlocking of JDG in the competition they've drafted today.
Yeah, I feel like Yagao has always had a bit of both styles in him, right? Always able to play these things that can push, roam, and lean for your team. Obviously also very known for champions like LeBlanc and Zoe when they did pick up their title. So very versatile player, but it feels like he always has a small effective champion pool at any given time, right?
Yeah.
Like he can pick things up, but he's not going to be like a Knight or a rookie who's going to pull out like 20 champions in a split. But that still feels exactly what JDG need. You have different styles of champions, and you play enough to give them success.
Exactly. We'll get the 2v2 renewed in the bottom lane here, as we have another 2 minutes for a dragon come up on the board. Be Infernal Dragon as our second dragon of the game, but Hacker coming down bottom lane, trying to get something happening. Hope in some trouble here. The Bladed Caller is going to come through and lock down Hope. Hope dies to Elk. Ultra Prime on the board.
Yeah, Ultra Prime finally able to punish some of the aggression coming out from JDG in the bottom lane by committing Hacker down. Kanavi, though, able to maximize his lead in the jungle at the same time, takes away another camp from Hacker, has been a whole level up against him pretty much the whole game. And now, with Ultra Prime playing on the spot side, looks like Yagao wanting to find an impact, but he doesn't have Realm Warp.
Oh, he's just going to walk here. So he's going to find Hacker in the bush on the way. Elk is in some trouble against Missing, who already used the Ignite. He flashes Glitz coming out from Elk. My goodness, Missing, you're going a little hand there. It's a 3v4. Yagao, Everfrosting, does not survive. The burn will be enough, and Kanavi has to flash.
Yeah, for Ultra Prime, they finally found success with keeping so many members down towards the bottom side. I feel like that was so overzealous coming out from JDG, though.
It really
Wanting
was.
to bring Yagao down for that play without the Realm Warp, Missing having to commit so early on. Kanavi wasn't even on his way yet. And overall, uncharacteristic mistakes from JDG that lead to them getting punished.
It's actually incredible because at the same time, Zoom is doing the Rift Herald across the map. So Ultra Prime winning out in multiple ways. Now they also have the Divine Sunder completed for Hacker, who will be coming back out on the map. We have Dragon about 20 seconds. Doesn't exactly look like Ultra Prime are be set up for this objective, but JDG are.
Yeah, JDG can even start roaming 369 over now like we're seeing. Just have him hover in the area. You don't need to commit too heavily, but it'll guarantee that they should be able to get this dragon. But here, like we say, right, no Realm Orb on the Ryze, so he has to make the long way around. Hacker's already here to cover. After Missing's committed, Kanavi so far off from the play, and you end up ineffectively a 3v4, no ultimate on Missing, no mana, to where everyone on Ultra Prime having mana, having their HP bars full, very easily able to find the kills back onto the members of JDG. But there it is.
Soul point.
That is sole point for the side of JDG. If they can wait out another few minutes, everything should be golden. But with that Herald, Ultra Prime able to even up the gold lead and should be able to get a second charge.
Yeah, didn't even have to use the health bar of Shelly, number 2, to get the charge off on the first tower. We'll get the charge off on the second tower, TPing to make sure they can commit to this as well. 369 going forward, does have the mist to block a lot of the damage. JDG stop another tower from falling, but it is lower than half health here, and Ultra Prime are sticking around.
Ultra Prime going to keep the siege up. They obviously have the Corki here to be able to put off that range damage, as well as having things like the pillar and the knockback from the Alistar, but Yagao going to look for Elk.
Oh, the Realm Warp coming through here. Elk doesn't know what to do. He was waiting to use the Blade Storm there, or the Feather Call as well, to try and get through a Feather Storm. Don't know if Kanavi gets this one.
Oh,
there you
wow.
go, the combo. True Shot Barrage. Oh, JDG, they might not get out alive, though. Kanavi dies. They overextended big time for that one, and Cryin picks it up.
And that has seriously just been the downfall of JDG this game. We saw it in bot. We just saw it in mid. They're trying so hard to find these picks and really just overcommitting. They were able to force out Elk's ultimate. Feels like that should have been enough. Maybe if Yagao would have had other tools like his flash, that's where you can then follow up with your own flash, get the root. He's not under turret yet and you find the kill, but just not having the tools there. It was cool to see how they synced up the damage once they did get him locked down with things like the True Shot Barrage coming through. But having the tank up turret means that Kanavi goes down as well, and you're just buying more time, giving more gold over to members like Cryin on this Corki.
Which is a terrifying prospect in its own right. I think Cryin definitely needs to be respected on said Corki as we get a little bit further into the game. But we do want to check in on item builds here. We do have second items being pretty much completed for a majority of carry members, at least. You have the Muramana as well as the Loon's Echo for Cryin. You've got now a little bit of tankiness for Yagao on the Ryze as well, but we're just going to get a little bit of time here where both teams looking for picks. It's starting by JDG looking at Zoom in the side lane, who does not have Mega Gnar and gets the needlework used right on top of him. Zoom has to flash. He's getting the Mega Gnar stack here, and the rest of Ultra Prime are coming. JDG commits to this. They get one. Now Kanavi gets the reset here. They want want to take the fight. Solar Flare in. Kanavi backs off for a second, but here he comes. True Shot Barrage, but Kanavi gets the kill into Hacker. And even if JDG stumble, they're not far away from glory.
JDG not overextending this time, having the members ready to follow up, and Hope and Missing leaning down towards that bot side allows for them to find the pick, get away unscathed, and even turn it into a second pick. A nice confidence boost that I feel like we needed from JDG after how the past few minutes have been going. But right, for JDG, you're kind of playing, waiting out for that next dragon to come up. Any bit of gold you can get on your carries to finish off 4 items to guarantee yourself soul is just what you're looking to do for this next 2 minutes. We see how it all pans out, right? Kanavi and 369 coming down. No outer turret left for Zoom, so they will be able to run him down. Did get sketchy. Some needleworks did miss, but still 369 able to follow up with his E. And you look at the minimap where Leona and Ezreal are. It means that Missing can pop the Solar Flare, and they're able to follow up and just bring Hacker down.
Meanwhile, we do see in the picture-in-picture plays still being made by JDG as they feel confident on the map now with the 3,000 gold lead to press up into the enemy jungle. You have Baron on the table, but 1 minute and 10 seconds for the infernal soul of JDG. And Ultra Prime at this point are on a clock to fight it if they don't want to lose Infernal.
Luckily for Ultra Prime, they haven't fallen too far behind. 3,000 gold, so it has like slipped a little bit down to where it was about a few minutes ago, but still, 2 items on Elk now, having the rapid fire cannon, giving a little bit more range to be able to play from. On top of the Gale Force, if, you know, they do get a member low enough, he can dash in, get the burst out.
That's a Trinity Force on Zoom, by the way.
Yeah, Cryin sitting comfortably. Zoom having the Triforce now as well, so going to do a little bit better in some of those extended skirmishes able to come through. And now we're just going to be looking at Cryin, if you have the package available, and what kind of impact that can have on the fight, right? Because that ultimately will be the you know, last straw for Ultra Prime if they can win a fight or not, in my mind, is what kind of package usage Cryin can find.
Yeah, we'll see. TP is now coming down to the Dragon Pit by Yagao as they will bring everyone here to the mid lane. Ultra Prime know they need to get priority in mid lane before they can move down to this Dragon Pit. Zoom has now backed, got the Force of Nature, will be TPing into the bottom lane and needs to walk all the way to the Dragon Pit. Cryin has the package. It is all about execution, and execution, it's going to be Missing moving in. They don't even have any time to set up here. He does get away with a nice package there, but 369's on the side, tanking up so much here. Big AoE, Heartbreaker, the reset's coming out for JDG, and they're moving in to Ultra Prime's house. They're taking everything. They took the silverware, they took the oven, they even took the microwave, and Elk goes down. That'll be a triple kill for Kanavi.
And what can Ultra Prime do without the microwave, Mazel? They can't do a damn thing. JDG taking down the dragon, all off the back of Kanavi finding the resets. We have pings coming down for Baron now, and JDG maybe making our heart rates go up a little bit with some of the mistakes this game, have still been solidly in control. Is Missing here.
My God,
doesn't even miss a beat. Gets straight onto the Corki. Cryin almost didn't even get the package away. Does luckily get away in the end, and then 369 keeping up the aggression, kind of building a lot of that space.
AoE right there. Oh my God.
Zoom kind of wasting ult, in my opinion, on a Gwen that will surely die. But the big thing is Kanavi finds the reset with the ult, and then can constantly pop off to take down these low health members of Ultra Prime.
What a play from JDG. Missing. That we were setting up the fight. We were like, all right, we're going to get our, you know, everybody's going to be set and steady. We're going to get a clean fight. You know, no ear tugs, no eye twitches.
Wait, Mazel.
What?
I'm sorry, I've thought about something.
What?
But to go with your weird analogy about stealing things from
Okay,
the house.
yes.
I know there's one thing that if Hysterics is listening, he'll be wondering about, like, vehemently.
Okay.
Did they take the fridge, Mazel? Did they take Hysterics'
Not
fridge?
yet. Not yet. They're working on the fridge. They have to come back another day.
Okay, Jake, if you're listening, your fridge is still good.
It is still good. We're not gone all the way down the rabbit hole just yet. But the thing I want to bring up is the fact that Missing did not allow for Ultra Prime to set up, did not give them even a moment to breathe. They pulled the trigger on the fight to the dragon, they got soul, and now Ultra Prime are in such a worse position in this game. They really don't have anything to say about it.
No, and now, I'm right, that was their big moment. That was the package timer. That was where they had to play around. Now having to deal with the Infernal Soul coming through, it's going to be huge damage, especially from Hope, who can consistently put it out from a range. We've seen him spamming the True Shot Barrage already, and now the Siege is going forward with JDG playing out through 2 lanes.
They are going to get the inhib tower in mid lane. Top's going to take a little bit more time, but they could just go for the fight afterwards as well. Yagao is going to use the Everfrost already. Zoom trying to stack up the Mega Gnar, but can't get the stacks just yet. And it's back to sieging for JDG.
And JDG just keeping up with the play. Look at 369, keeping so much pressure up on top side. 2 turrets already down. And Ultra Prime not really left with any good choices.
They don't know what to
Zoom
do.
Still nowhere close. Zoom's still not even Mega.
He still has not gotten it. Solar Flare comes out. They're losing the top inhib. Now the mid inhib. And it will be JDG walking away. And guess what, Lyric? This time, they took the fridge.
Oh no! Hysterics is molding, and so is Ultra Prime, I'm sure. Ultra Prime, though, I mean, it seems like thinking, hey, there's no angle to look for a fight here. Let's live to fight another day. Maybe they buy enough time to, you know, who knows, get another item out onto Cryin, who looks like he's making his way to the GA. Maybe you can wait out another package timer able to come through,
God.
but
Why
still,
you
my
gotta do
God,
that, man! Come
they
on!
are taking everything.
Now they went back for the dog bed. Like at this point, I don't even know what's left in the Ultra Prime house.
Oh, TP coming from Yagao. Yagao TP flank.
They do have the flank. That's a huge flank, too. They've already gotten ShiauC. Yagao in some trouble here by himself. He is the tanky Ryze, but he has to go golden to buy some time here. Needlework is utilized by 369 in that pickoff of ShiauC. And now we're right back to where we were a couple minutes ago. Baron buff up for 10 more seconds. Siege continuing, but not for long for JDG.
Yeah, sadly, no one to follow up pushing out that bot wave to guarantee they get the last inner turret left on the board. But they are completely choking out Ultra Prime from any money they can find, right? Taking away all the camps in the bot side jungle, so that's going to be even less income coming in for Cryin or Elk had they wanted to pick those up. And JDG, not feeling like they need to base it, going to keep the pressure up, looking to take this last inner turret.
Zoom is unfortunately all by his limbs. Zoom does have the rest of the team backing him up now as Kanavi came around the corner to ShiauC's chagrin. It'll be another tower falling, and at this point, it just feels like eternity until JDG can win. Oh my God.
Beautiful.
That's a 2-man solar flare on top of the True Shot Barrage. ShiauC's dead yet again. 0-4 on the Alistar, and it's one more engage, and that's a big soul steal from Kanavi as they got a triple knock up, and now afterwards, it's just JDG cleaning house. There's one last inhib, a couple Nexus towers, but it is about time for JDG to take game number 1 of this series, and they'll take down the last inhib tower.
There was some hiccups, but JDG have been in control of this game the whole time.
Oh my God,
Cryin,
no way.
Join the package. Maybe we're talking too soon.
No way. This is huge. Cryin with a potential game changer. They've already gotten hope out of it. The package, the Realm Warp, they get out for a second. Zoom wants to commit here, but Zoom overextended. No! He gets the one, but he gets taken down. And now Kanavi is resetting like crazy. It's a bouncy house, but JDG back away.
I thought they'd want to go for more, but look at the Nexus. We see Ultra Prime running over now. So many super minions coming through. Sadly, they weren't able to finish off that last inhibitor to get the double super minions coming through all the lanes, but still, JDG managed to get out and even managed to return the kill that they ended up giving over at the end of that fight. You guys' Realm Warp to me was kind of funny because he Realm Warped where we saw the other members literally able to just walk to, but still had some flair to it. Elder Drake, though, coming up in 30 seconds. And Mazel, guess what Ultra Prime just used to force the fight?
No way. Could it be the package?
Right. That's right, Mazel. It's the package, meaning they won't have it for Elder. We still get to see this engage come out from JDG before. Beautiful Solar Flare coming out from Missing. And then Kanavi able to follow up, showing off his Alistar mechanics that they made much easier when they allowed it, so you can just buffer the headbutt pulverize as a combo. But, you know, who am I to speak about that? And then JDG had to deal with.
We're back and alive. Another solar flare, another Everfrost. ShiauC is going down. He is going down like the rest of the ship for Ultra Prime. You thought the fridge was enough. You thought the microwave, the dog bed. It's everything at this point. It's even the car. You're taking everything from Ultra Prime, and JDG are coming up aces. They will not take down Elk and Zoom, but they will surely take down Ultra Prime in this first game of a best of 3.
Yeah, JDG showing up strong, able to win out on some of the rivalries that we set up, beating out Elk, 369 in Yagao, able to beat out Zoom, and JDG, I mean, looking good. Ever since Home has been the coach of this team, JDG have just looked solid. And Home is a coach, he's a man who's been around a long time. Man's been around since Season 2. He's been around since TPA won a World Championship. He's been around since I Will Dominate was on Dignitas. Since people like Dyrus and Froggen were top players. This guy's seen it all. And it feels like Home is, again, always been there when JDG were successful. Because when you look at JDG the way they play, again, it just feels like the system's there. Like they're all on the same page. They know what they want to do. They're playing around Kanavi. They're setting up for bot lane. It's just very fluid. There were some mistakes. There were some overreaches and oversteps. But again, they were in control of the game the whole time.
Little side point on the point. My French brain just can't handle his name because that is in French, which is man. It just drives me nuts every single time. But in all actuality, right, JDG themselves coming into this one a little bit rocky, I feel like, in some parts of that game. But when they got control, when stacking up the dragon so early, that is the win condition I feel like JDG always set for themselves. They find ways to control the map holistically. And a big part to that was the fact that Kanavi was almost Flame Horizon hacker.
Yeah. The Kanavi having a huge early game, right? Found impact in the bottom lane early on, even without having to commit in terms of like being there just in case. When the 2v2 came about, constantly counter jungling. We saw plays made up towards the top side of the map. We saw plays made around mid. And yeah, Kanavi was just really everywhere. But again, this JDG just feels like such a unit in terms of how they play the game. It's very hard to separate the individual performance from the the squad as a whole. Because once the Realm Warps came online, Yagao was ganking Zoom as well. Missing had no fear at all this game. My God, that guy would go on any chance it could. Remember the bot lane?
Exactly.
Like every time we pan back to bot lane, we see Leona Zenith blading in.
He was even going solo. Like in that one moment, he was like 1v3. It just goes for the engage because he knows the team's going to back him up.
Yeah, I really like this JD Gaming roster. They're so fun to watch. They play so well, and it's a team that I hope continues to do well, even when we see some of our more on paper stacked rosters come online. Again, maybe if top esports pull together, or when V5 gets rookie back, or if EDG keeps scaling. I'm hoping that JDG can still keep up this level of performance and contest with these guys and give us a question mark of like who is going to be the LPL Summer Champions, because right now they are just so fun to watch, so good at the game. And sadly, for someone like me who wants to see Ultra Prime to the moon, JDG are kind of shutting down that Ultra Prime hype train.
But again, I want to focus back on Yagao in this mid lane on the Ryze. We saw, earlier series, the Ryze not working out. We've seen in the past, Ryze is so crucial, the movement, the mobility out of mid lane. But this is how you execute on that kind of pick. And it was so beautiful to see the early adaptation, even the little side gank against Zoom, like you were mentioning, just adding a little bit of worse for wear for Ultra Prime. But for Ultra Prime, it's about comeback. It's about proving yourself against one of the best teams, if not the best team in the LPL right now. We'll see if they can do just that in game number 2, as we'll be right back.
And buy a new fridge.
Buy a new fridge.